Tony Joseph, welcome.
Thanks, Donna.
Tell me about the Tony Joseph early years. Where were you born? Where did you go to school?
I was born in Maxville on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. I was only a baby of a few months when my mother and father decided that they were going to move from the family home in mid-north coast of New South Wales and move out to the central west to Orange. So I have one older sister and I have two younger brothers and two younger sisters. My mum and dad were both of Lebanese descent, Christian Lebanese, very strong in their faith in the early part of all their lives, but in the early part of their life when they moved out to Orange, I think it was one of the things that connected them with the people of the Central West. When we started primary school in those days, I started at a school in Orange called Santa Maria. And Santa Maria was run by the Mercy nuns, tough Irish nuns that were wonderful. You look back on your life in these days and you think how fortunate you were to have people with such great knowledge and care for you in your upbringing. And I found in those days, of what I can remember of it now, they were wonderful, the nuns. Then I moved to a college, De La Salle. You know, I've always been involved in sport. I love sport. It's a passion that I've had all my life.
All right, leaving school, how did you get involved in the fruit and vegetable business with your dad and your uncles?
Pop Joseph decided he'd come up to where I said before, where I was born at Maxville, and there was a little town about, I think it was 15 kilometres in from Maxville called Taylor's Arm. And Pop had a banana and pineapple plantation there. And that's where the Joseph family first got involved in fruit and veg. And then they moved from there into a warehouse or a shed in Orange, and they started a business out there called Country Fruit Distributors. And they started selling apples, pears, stone fruit that was grown in the Orange district, and also a lot of vegetables that were grown in there. And they were starting to provide people in the central west of New South Wales. Their company then changed names from Country Fruit Distributors to All States Food, and it became a publicly listed company. And that would have happened in the mid-60s, I guess, at this point in time. That transition got us to Brisbane because the business grew that big in the Central West.
You met your wife here?
Yeah, interesting. You know, my wife, her family, is a very similar story, but they came from a casino in New South Wales, their family down there. But the George family, who Marie, Simon and Nell George, two of the most beautiful people I think I've ever met in my life.
And the business today has seen your children work in the business. Your 4 children have all been involved?
Yes.
And how does that work? How do you class yourself between a dad and a boss?
I've had wonderful grounding, and I give Simon a lot of credit for that. Teaching me a lot of things in life. You know, he's a great mentor. And I hope that I can relate some of those learnings that he taught me onto my family. I've got 2 sons and I've got 2 daughters, and the 4 of them have worked in the business along with my wife Marie.
And it's a very successful business, Tony. Do you put that down to hard work, family? What do you put that down to?
Donna, you can put it down to a lot of things, but look, number one, family is massive in whatever you do in life. As a Christian, you know, like that's what we were taught. Family is everything. Secondly, hard work. I don't know anyone from Kerry Packer down to whoever. They have all worked hard. That's what we do. That's what our DNA is.
All right, how does Tony Joseph keep his faith?
How do I keep it? Well, number one, by being around my family a lot. And as I said to you, we're very family orientated. My wife is a very, very loyal church goer. Yes. Grower.
Fruit and church.
Yeah, and Marie doesn't miss Mass every week, and not that I can say that I'm as diligent as what Marie is. I do go to Mass. I've got my own beliefs, and I'm a very strong believer in if you're comfortable with yourself, you're at peace, and that's the thing that I say my prayers, I do my personal things that I do myself, and I've got a strong belief in that.
What is your message to the Catholic Church?
I'm got to say that I'm a very traditional person. I've got a strong belief in the faith. I don't always say that the church is right. No one's ever right. You know, we're in life, there's no one that's ever been right. So the thing is, what we've got to get on with in life, and my message is to the young people of today, respect their family, respect their faith, and it's quite simple. Be a good person. We've got a pretty fair country here. When you look at some of the stuff that goes on around the world, Australia seemed to get it right, but we need to have good, respectful faith, and I think we need to be good people.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Tony. Thank you for your time. And let's go and have a peach.
Thanks, Donna. Oh, sorry.